going on, everybody? Today we are back in the studio for Behind the Track of the Anthem. Let's dive in. There's a couple cool points in this track that I want to point out first, and then we're going to hop into the drop. Let's do it. So first, let's just get a refresher. We're going to talk about this build up here. This is really, really cool.
The Anthem.
So you'll notice that it just goes from this very low point and from in an instrumental orchestral standpoint, and it just rises to this crescendo, and it ends basically on the root note, which is really, really cool. So we'll go ahead and solo it out here so you can hear the instrumentation. And it just gets higher and higher. Ba, ba, and it's approaching the root note. And then you're there, you see? And all these different elements coming together, we've got, I mean, they're all frozen. I did this on an old computer and I needed some CPU space. So freeze, flatten the audio, pro tip. So let's go ahead and just listen to the individual elements here. Just a moody kind of choir. We've got this here, which is just a low Vulcan choir. Next one here, frontal bass, like it's a frontal brass, you know. Next one, string ensemble. And they're all kind of mirroring each other as far as notes. And then it ends right there with some actual brass reversing into itself into the root note. Next one. Just spoken choir to really bring that tension in. Reverse it.
The Anthem.
And then you're right there on the root note. Then we've got a sustained choir. So when you play that with the spoken choir, they kind of keep each other in line with the actual sustain keeping the flat bed down. Then actual stab choir on the root note, which is on the drop, you know, when everything kind of comes in. So that was a cool sort of technique that I used there as far as note structure to get to the back to the root note of the actual for the drop, you know, creating a sort of crescendo on the buildup, which is, you know, not really all that common to see on a trap record, you know, which is really cool. Also, next cool point before we hop into the drop is the vocals here.
We live to fight the supreme powers at play.
I mean, shout out to myself. That's my voice. Let's kind of look into these vocals here.
We live.
So that's actually frozen, but I know I pitched it and did a bunch of stuff to it. We've got some overdrive on there. They're in mono. Let's see if I can pitch it back and see if we can find the original tone somewhere.
We live to fight the supreme power.
So that's kind of close.
We live to fight the supreme powers at play. Powers. We live
to fight the supreme.
So basically, you know, the technique that you can sort of use to create a vocal like this as far as speaking into the mic, if you're trying this yourself, is really low. You're going to utilize the proximity effect by speaking really close to the microphone, you know, sort of like this, you know, maybe even closer. I'd usually take it off of the stand and stick it right in front of my mouth, just like that. And use that proximity effect, which is going to create the presence of more low-end frequency in the user's voice. And then once you do that, you want to make sure you're speaking really slow, really punctual, so you can get the tonality that you're looking for.
We live to fight the supreme powers at play.
You know, like everything that I said, it was extremely punctual. It was like there's emphasis on every word.
We live to fight.
To fight, you know, it's really cool. And then what you can do is just pitch it down. When you find that sweet note to where it doesn't sound like you're too much of a monster, and that sweet spot between normal human being and sort of monstery, then that's the sort of sweet spot. Then you can throw on a bunch of, your choice of saturation. I used overdrive and a little bit of reverb, took out some annoying frequencies in there, and we came out with some cool voice just like this.
When the darkness takes over the light.
And then we've got the cool sort of effects here. And that's just a cool technique using sharing tool to kind of get that to play within the stereo field. You can see it moving there. And then it's pitched even lower. That is the monster tone now. Pitched even lower. So that's how it was originally at the whatever the pitch that I came up with before freezing it. And then we went down like that. And we used a bunch of the formants and envelope. Nice sort of combination of those numbers there to kind of create that nice gritty tonality there. And then just a little bit of reverb on there, same sort of EQing throughout.
Forces of nature.
Then on here, like, get that sort of radio vibe where it sounds like it's like kind of far back.
Nature. Forces of nature.
A cool thing that you can do is just throw an auto filter on there and kind of sweep the filter back like this, like you're seeing here on this setting like that. And it'll kind of take out those low frequencies, but it'll also kind of set the vocal back and make it sound like it's kind of farther away. So without that auto filter, it sounds like this. You're going to bring all that low end back.
Forces of nature.
Then when you bring it back,
forces of nature.
It just kind of, it sounds like a backing vocal, which is the effect I was looking for.
Nature. Forces of nature.
So yeah, that is the vocals. Really, really cool. I mean, I would highly encourage people to play around with their own voices and see what the versatility of the human voice, because it's amazing. If you like videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. It really helps the videos out. If you want to see the more in-depth version of this video, you can follow me on Patreon at patreon.com/litlords, or you can become a member right here on YouTube by clicking the join button on the page, and you'll have access to exclusive channel videos in the Heart Academy Lite tier, which is the light version of my Patreon Heart Academy tier, which allows you to see these full-length videos where I talk about the drops and the sound design. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you check out my membership tiers right here on YouTube by clicking the join button. Really, really awesome perks. And if you want the full experience of everything I've got to offer, head over to patreon.com. It's the best way to support the brand, the movement, the sound. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.